I refuse to believe that that's real.
Yeah, that's horrific.
They say he is a legend.
Hello and welcome back to Commercial Filmmakers React. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And we are both commercial filmmakers. And today we're going to talk about some of the cringiest commercials we could find. The ones that are just skin-crawlingly, disgracefully disgusting. So a topic that makes my skin crawl in advertising is that of celebrity endorsement, particularly non-acting celebrity endorsement. And I think I've got a good example of that here. This is a football thing. I support Manchester United. They have a partnership with a wine brand called Casillero del Diablo. Diablo means devil in Spanish, and the nickname of Manchester United is the Red Devils, right? So there's a link between those things. You would think that this was a home run, an absolute no-brainer.
You're looking at a grand slam home run.
They've made it so cringy. Let's take a little look.
Guys, we have a problem. The boss said that new devil is arriving.
Is he well known?
They say he is a legend.
What's that? And that's the commercial.
That's it?
That's it. That's the commercial.
That is not just cringy, but kind of underwhelming at the
it's-
same time.
First of all, right, they're not actors. We don't blame football players for not being great actors, right? I think the editing carries a lot of blame here, right? Because, for example, right, what on earth is this pause?
They say he is a legend.
They say he's a legend. Sure, Wayne Rooney's not the world's greatest actor, right? But if you're an editor, you could just go snip, snip and fix that.
Yeah.
And make it like 100 times less cringy, because there's this weird pregnant pause where he's going, they say he is a legend.
He's clearly been directed to make it dramatic, but he does not know how to make it dramatic.
I know. And things like the cinematography, the choice of shot there, right? I think they want a dramatic silhouette, but it's the wrong angle and the wrong lighting. And he just looks really sort of buffoonish. He doesn't look like sharp and edge-lit, and he also doesn't quite look perfectly side-on, so it's all sort of misangled. It just looks awkward, like he's sort of not quite comfortable looking where he's supposed to look.
Do you know that when will my husband return from the war meme?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is making me think of.
Exactly. There's a sort of a lack of focus in the eyes, and I don't think that's Wayne Rooney's fault. I think it's just... It's something to do with the way the shot's set up and the way that it's lit and the way that it's edited, particularly. It's slow and creepy. So I find that pretty cringy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's, I don't know, an 8 out of cringe.
I think it's pretty close to cringe-tastic. I've got a counterexample, though, of the same partnership a few years later, which I think is quite good, right? And I wanted to talk about why it's better. So a few years later, Manchester United signed a new player, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and they put out a new version of this partnered commercial, which I think is much better in a lot of ways. Let's watch it. One thing is, none of the footballers say anything in the film, right? So that's good. Now, these are some legendary former players of the club, right?
I see.
It's worth knowing, probably. Okay, another legendary devil, right? It's much more stylized and much more kind of competently stylized. So these kind of strange shots through the gate there, they're actually kind of stylish and interesting. They're lit in creative ways, and they kind of hit the mark so that you aren't cringing at the filmmaking.
Yeah, this is a very big step up. I do think that the thing you pointed out about how stylized it all is works very well to the advantage of this one.
Yeah, well, just things like sensible, complementary coloured lighting. You know, we've got this sort of orange and teal thing going on. You know, something sort of like you would do if you were making a film, as opposed to just like, hey, Wayne, stand by the window and look moody. I think this is much, much more well managed, unlike Manchester United.
Ooh, burn!
Hey, if you're enjoying this video, why don't you click subscribe and the little notifications bell to find out more and keep up to date with what we're doing. Shall we move on?
The first one I have is an old one from a company called Rax Roast Beef. 3 months after they released this ad campaign, they went bust.
Oh no, I know what this one is.
Really?
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. No, I heard about this recently. I can't wait. Let's see it.
Hello, I'm Mr. Delicious. I know what you're thinking. He's a cartoon. And cartoons are mostly for people who wet their pants. Tickety-dee.
That's horrible.
This is really bad.
It's really bad. It's bad on so many levels.
I don't even really know where to begin. I don't know who they are trying to address.
There's something like overtly creepy about
Yeah.
it. I think that's deliberate, right?
If it's not deliberate, I'm very worried about the creators.
If you're making an Adult Swim sort of late night cartoon, you might want a creepy character, right? But this is a commercial for a restaurant that people might want to go to during the daytime.
Feels like they're uncertain about the whole direction they've taken.
Yeah, I always think any kind of edgy joke is a very dangerous thing, right? So if it's like, oh, this is a cartoon for people who don't wet their pants, well, so who are you winning against there? Children. You're dunking on children.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe some people want to bring their whole family to your restaurant.
Yeah, which Rax didn't want anymore. They wanted
Yeah.
a mature dining experience without children, which used to be largely their core audience. So
Yeah.
they've alienated their entire pre-existing audience in exchange for insecure school teacher.
Well, yeah, and maybe there's, a very, very small minority of a population that goes, yeah, I really want to go to that creepy restaurant because there won't be any kids there, right? But I think the vastly larger opportunity audience there would have been just a more sophisticated vibe. If you're going to try and up the age of your clientele, you would just tone down the childish elements of your advertising, right?
Yeah.
So not a cartoon, also not a sort of creepy anti-cartoon just to extra hard make the point.
But not Mr. D. He's a special cartoon for adults.
There's a few other ones of these. In the third one of these, he kind of very explicitly goes into how he had a vasectomy.
Yeah,
which is
yeah, right, I remember
ridiculous.
that. Bizarre. And not anything I want to associate with my roast beef dinner.
Oh, no.
No, not at
definitely
all.
not.
Should we take a look at something else?
Yes.
Victory is assured. I don't understand what this is. That is an outrage. That is genuinely so unpleasant.
Yeah, that's cringy in multiple ways, I think.
Number one issue is brands trying to be topical. It's very difficult to respond to the world around you in real time. That's difficult, so we'll get that out there right away.
This came out during sort of the height of the Black Lives Matter protest. They are not actually saying anything with this ad. They're just capitalizing on the fact that there is a lot of protests happening. This is not sending any message. Like, the people in this protest are happy to be protesting.
It feels like in a meeting somewhere, someone said, hey, what do kids like? And someone else said, protesting? Maybe? There's a sort of weird suggestion, a weird and impossible suggestion that Pepsi can somehow bridge the gap between the sides of this debate. Bizarre and presumptuous and quite offensive.
Very, yeah.
Apart from that, just unnecessary celebrity involvement. Again, we talked about this with the Super Bowl a bit. If you're going to have a celebrity involved in your commercial, there has to be a good reason. And actually, I think Pepsi has a lot to answer for, even more recently. I'd see if I wasn't prepared for this, but let me see if I can find one of the more recent spots I've seen on YouTube and stuff.
Ice cold, taste the bowl. Burning, live, shiver, giving, gotta love some Pepsi Max.
Right, so there's a bunch of little bumper ads and bits and pieces around the internet at the moment with rap music for no reason that doesn't scan properly. When it comes to advertising, it's important that you have a reason for what you do, or you can really be seen to be exploiting. It makes me think there's a guy in a suit somewhere who said, rap music's cool.
That's probably a big part of the crux here, that all of these decisions feel very boardroomy and nothing actually revolutionary happens in a boardroom.
And if this was connected to a specific artist, a musical artist, if it was somewhat legitimized and integrated into a cultural presentation, if the typography and the visuals were in some way representative of, so, it's like it's a problem when you wear a Native American headdress to a party, right? Because you're just grabbing something you think is cute and funny. But if you are invested in a culture and you are making an attempt to be genuinely respectful of a culture, then you can involve that culture and references to that culture in your work, be it advertising or creative work in general, right? But you can't just go, oh, kids love rap, grab. It doesn't work like that. And I think that's what they've done here. And the same thing with the Kendall Jenner protest commercial. I just feel like they've seen that there was something big going on in the world and they were like, yeah, we want that, gimme. And that's not a way to appeal to any actual human being. Cringy.
Very cringy. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below.
On to the next one. Here's an example of just cheap commercials. This is from the UK 10 or so years ago, 15 years ago.
Got an old mobile?
Ancient.
So last year. She wants some money for it.
Dosh. Readies.
Wonga!
Now, I saw thread on Twitter recently where some of the actors from this commercial were having a sort of support group for how embarrassing it all was. And I want to start by saying, in no way are we laughing at any of the people in this commercial, or even the people that made this commercial, because I figure the problem here was just low budget, low time, let's make something, let's get it out there.
Yeah.
And actually this was a very effective commercial because it got a lot of people talking and they saw it and they thought it was kind of funny and a bit embarrassing, and it, you know, it did the trick. But it's so cringy for so many reasons. Like filmmaking, the visuals are very basic.
Yeah.
Green screen, coloured backgrounds, right? It looks cheap.
I feel like even in 2010,
There or thereabouts, maybe
I
even
feel
earlier.
like even in that time, this would have looked cheap and outdated.
The whole thing about this commercial is it's heightened reality of like people getting way too excited about something that's not really exciting. And it's a perfectly good script and it's a perfectly good performance for what it is, but it's rubbish. It's
Just,
so
doesn't
rubbish.
come together well at all.
We love these songs! Cause they are good to us!
Now, you've seen stuff like this, though. You've seen, you know, Weeble stuff and silly videos like this that make people laugh on the internet for 15 seconds, right? But when a supposedly respectable corporate entity gets involved and says, oh, people like that, let's have that be our commercial, there's something really weird and disconnected about it, because you can't just manufacture that random value, that wackiness.
I also like the strong disconnect between the body of the video with the shouty whatever they are and the very nice cinematic shot of the actual sub.
Well, exactly. It makes you think they had a commercial already and they didn't think it was very interesting, so they thought, let's slap over this meme and make it funny somehow. Because we're already embarrassed, so let's embarrass everyone at home. If you're trying to manufacture goodwill by just buying it from the internet, you're not going to have a good time. More information about what we do is on biggerfeet.com. Go check it out. Onwards. Similarly, right, we talked about kind of cultural appropriation. Here's a really horrid example. I'm so sorry in advance for this.
The
Right?
drip is respectable, but the chips are impeccable. Chips Ahoy is here for
I
it.
don't know the person that did the voiceover, but she sounds like a white woman.
Yes.
And she's using urbanized black language, youth language, in a weird poem that doesn't even rhyme to try and make a cute little commercial. And it's so creepy. I don't like it, Tom. Here's another one, right? Just one more.
When the shot is swishy, but you want that chocolate chippy, Chips Ahoy is here for it.
To be fair, they are getting to me. Not because they're good, but because they are so cringy. Possibly they are overplaying it on purpose. I hope.
Yeah, well, maybe they're trying to become a meme by deliberately being embarrassing. And fine, I think that's a pretty dangerous strategy,
Slippery
right?
slope.
I hate to keep coming back to this, but there's this sort of like slightly dangerous like racial edge to it, which is to basically appropriate youthful kind of racialized language and start throwing it around as though it's just a fun little slogan.
Yeah.
And especially to not make it rhyme, that is unforgivable. I think you must be right. I think it's more likely
so,
that this
but-
brand and various others, they're not trying to be cool, they're trying to be uncool mom.
I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina?
Let's move on.
And on this that said, I've never wanted to be a sponge more than...
Sarah? Clean enough?
Yeah, that's horrific.
There's so many ways that that's horrible.
With that one, I genuinely just have more questions than answers, I think. I think they are targeting housewives between 30 and 50-ish. Why is it the man who is cleaning?
I've got an answer for that.
If you actually want men to do the cleaning, why are you making an ad that is making a 42-year-old horny for your product?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think you've identified the fact that they're not actually aiming the product at who they're claiming to aim it at, right? It's not about, hey, you men, clean better. It's about,
exactly.
Hey, you women, if you hate cleaning and your husband, here's some products for you. It's just gross.
Yeah.
And It's another example of a brand trying to be modern and topical and woke, right? It's like, hey, we know that people care about gender issues. Let's put that in the commercial without understanding it. It's really ill thought through, and it's also really creepy CGI. It's that sort of Polar Express kind of plasticky CGI. Why don't you get a human being in the commercial?
That's another question I had, actually. Why, maybe you have an answer to this, but what's with the juxtaposition between sort of beefy, bootylicious Mr. Clean and this meek, sheepy husband?
They're trying to say, hey, your husband's a loser, but he could be really cool if he cleaned with Mr. Clean, or if you bought Mr. Clean and showed it to him and looked at him knowingly and failed to communicate effectively. The whole thing is just based on a really negative and miserable interpretation of society. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I
awful.
Very much hate that as well.
Good, we're agreed then. Let's move on. We found some of the cringiest commercials we could, but I bet you're thinking of a bunch more. Why don't you leave a comment below and we might cover it in Cringe Commercials Volume 2. What have Haribo done to upset you, Tom? Let's find out.
Oh, so smooth.
I refuse to believe that that's real.
Yeah, that came out, well, it says in the title, it came out in the UK in 2011.
No, it didn't. That never happened. I'm not having it. First of all, it looks like something that literally anyone with a camera could have made. And then the song, right, is so rubbish.
My main thought watching all of this was it feels very German, which is fine because Haribo's a German brand, but it's not really thought out for a UK audience. Pardon me if there's any Germans watching, but it's too sort of plasticky and proper and like, I don't know, it's not gritty enough in a way.
Right.
Even if it is like meant for kids and it's a candy commercial.
But it's too simple, it's too soft, and it's, you know, squidgy baby. Okay, I get that, but there's what's the concept here? Think of the boardroom. They're sitting there discussing the ideas. What are we going to spend our budget on, even if it is only 18 euros? I've got an idea. Some people are dancing around and eating our sweets.
That's it.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the
enough.
whole, that's the idea. I think there should be a song. I'll write it myself. It's going to be rubbish. It's just, I don't understand. What is that? It's just nothing. Well, at least it's not actively offensive.
No, that's true.
So maybe that's the bar that we've all got to clear. Just
Jesus, if that's the bar, I don't want to be here.
Thanks everybody so much for watching. It's been really, really gross, and I hope you feel the same way. We'll be back soon for more. And if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, come and check us out on biggerfeet.com. We're making some cool stuff. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.